Hugh Clarke, attorney and resident of East Baltimore Midway. Thank you for joining me today as I make a fairly simple, healthy, and delicious pasta dish. Today I'm going to be making a pasta, tomato, feta, and a little bit of herbs dish for you today. As a side, I'll also be making a little steamed broccoli, but we'll get to that in just a second. For this dish today, we're just going to need a few things. We're going to need salt and pepper. We're going to need some tomatoes, some pasta, and whatever pasta you have lying around the house works, whether that's, macaroni elbows or regular spaghetti. Any sort of pasta will work for this. It just so happens that I have some cheese ravioli that I'm going to be using for this because I got to use this before they go off. Some feta cheese available at most grocery stores. Extra virgin olive oil, we're going to need about a half cup of that. We're going to need 2 cloves of garlic. I'm adding in a little special treat. I like to cook with shallots. Shallots are available almost every grocery store. They're like a little cross between the garlic and the onion. They pack a lot of flavor. They taste really, really good. And we're going to have some basil to go with this. So today's dish is very, very simple. All you really need is a pot. I'm pre-boiling some salted water here and an oven-safe dish. For this, we're just gonna go ahead and cover the bottom of our dish here with tomatoes. The more tomatoes you put, the better, especially if you like a more saucy sort of pasta dish. So we're gonna put some tomatoes here. We're also gonna throw in our feta. I'm gonna use all this feta. This feta is gonna melt really, really well in the oven. We're gonna go ahead and season with a little salt and a little pepper. So usually a 1/4 teaspoon of salt will work. You can measure things out. I sort of prefer to just visually look at my ingredients and decide exactly how much I have and what I need in there. And this looks really, really, really good. We're gonna go ahead and add in some olive oil to this, and then we're gonna pop this into our oven. So I'm gonna put just about a little less than a half cup of olive oil in here. Pour that right on. And this, we're gonna put in the oven. This is gonna go in the oven for about 35 minutes at 400. We've already preheated this oven, so I can just go ahead and pop this in here. All right, well, while that's going, I'm gonna start boiling our pasta. And for this pasta, it usually is just about 10 to 13 minutes. You generally wanna have your water boiling first before you add your pasta. We'll go ahead, add that in there. We'll cover it so it gets a little extra heat. All right, and while all of that's going, you suddenly have a whole lot of time to do other things. So one of the things that I like to do when I have moments like this is to get working on any vegetables or chopping that I might need to do. So we have a clove of garlic and we have a shallot that we're going to cut up. So for this, I kind of like garlic, so I'm gonna use 2 cloves here. I'm gonna break them loose. We're gonna smash them a little bit. This really helps free it from the outer shell, the little skin stuff that stays on there. And because we're gonna chop this down anyways, I'm really not too concerned if it's whole or not, because we're gonna chop it into smithereens in just a second here. Let's get our shallot ready as well. And these you can go ahead and just peel off the full first layer of flesh. Really allows you to get to it a lot quicker. So we're gonna chop down our garlic. And a fine little minced chop is perfect for this. Just go across it again. Just want a few nice little fine pieces. Because I like these to be a little fine piece, so I did some long waist cuts, and then I'll come across and just cut down, and instantly we have a shallot that is nearly completely diced. There's not a whole lot of work left to do here. We'll just cut it down a little more. All right, and we can set these aside for when our tomatoes and cheese gets out of the oven. What we're gonna do at that point, we're gonna add this on top along with some lovely basil, and we're gonna chop that up right now. And basil is a fun one to sort of work with. I like the flavors of basil, but also when you get to cut them together, there's a fun little trick to cutting these. I usually just layer the leaves on top of one another. So I'll take a few leaves, layer them up, and then I'll roll them. Roll them all the way down, pop the ends off, and then to cut, just cut them like this. And you get these fun little basil strips, and you can leave them right there. You don't really have to cut them any more than that. But these are gonna add a really good flavor and aroma to our pasta dish when that gets out of the oven, which should be shortly. Here it looks like our pasta is just about ready. We're gonna let that sit for just a moment as we wait just another few minutes until we can get our dish out of the oven and add. So our dish is in the oven and it looks like it's coming along really, really well. I think it needs just about 5 more minutes, and I'm actually gonna turn up the heat to about 450 and see if we can't roast these tomatoes just a little bit more. Oh yeah, there they are. That looks really, really good. Just gonna go ahead and mash them up a little bit. And while it's still hot, I'm gonna add in our onions, shallot, and basil. We'll just grab this, put in our garlic and shallots, and then our basil. And so the heat right now is gonna cook our vegetables just a little bit, just enough to get them nice and fragrant, to release a lot of the flavors and a lot of the smells. So at this point, my mic stopped working and I didn't realize it. So what I did was add my pasta to my feta and tomato basil mixture here, and I'll show you the end results. You get this beautiful dish, and I added a lovely side of steamed broccoli, and let me tell you, this was delicious.